In 1940, in the occupied city of Oslo, carrying a simple paper clip in public could get you arrested. Not because this small piece of metal was inherently illegal, but because it had come to mean something powerful. It meant resistance. This tiny, unassuming piece of bent wire, an object we barely notice today, once carried a message so dangerous it had to be hidden in plain sight. Let's think about the paperclip for a moment. It's one of the most invisible objects ever invented. There are no buttons, no branding, no moving parts that demand our focus. It doesn't ask for your attention. It has one job, and it does it perfectly. It just holds things together. And because it works so quietly, so efficiently, we almost never stop to ask where it came from. Its story is far more profound than just organizing documents. To understand its journey, we have to go back to the late 1800s. The world was experiencing an explosion of commerce, industry, and bureaucracy. Offices were drowning in a sea of paper. Invoices, letters, contracts, memos, it was an administrative nightmare. How do you keep related documents together without damaging them? People tried everything. Straight pins were common, but they tore the paper and pricked your fingers. Glue was far too permanent. Some people used ribbons or string, tying bundles of paper together, but that was slow and clumsy. What was needed was something simple, cheap, and non-destructive. In 1899, a Norwegian inventor named Johan Valle filed a patent for a simple solution. He had created a small piece of bent wire, elegantly designed to hold sheets of paper together without causing any damage. Now, it's important to note that Valle's design was unexactly the gem paper clip we use today. His version was less practical and was never actually mass-produced. The iconic loop design we're all familiar with was likely developed by a British company called the Gem Manufacturing Company around the same time, but they never patented it. So, its exact origin is a little fuzzy. But the key part of the story is that, in the popular Norwegian consciousness, the paper clip was a clever Norwegian invention. And for decades, that's all it was. The design was refined over the years. It became cheaper to produce, stronger in its grip, and infinitely reusable. For nearly 40 years, the paper clip lived a quiet, unremarkable life on desks and in drawers all over the world. It was a tool of commerce, a symbol of order and efficiency, until history came knocking and forced it to become something else entirely. On April 9, 1940, Nazi Germany invaded Norway. The small Scandinavian country, which had declared its neutrality, was suddenly under brutal military occupation. Life changed overnight. The Norwegian king and government were forced into exile, and a collaborationist regime was installed. Public resistance was incredibly dangerous. The occupying forces were swift and merciless in their crackdown. Traditional symbols of national pride were systematically outlawed. Displaying the Norwegian flag became a crime. Singing patriotic songs was forbidden. Even speaking certain words in public could lead to your arrest, or worse. The very identity of the Norwegian people was under attack. In the face of this overwhelming oppression, Norwegians had to find a new way to show their solidarity, a subtle way to communicate their defiance without speaking a word. They needed a symbol that was Norwegian, that was unifying, and that could fly under the radar of the occupiers. And they found it in the most unexpected of places, the humble paper clip. The logic was simple and brilliant. Since the paper clip was widely, though perhaps mistakenly, believed to be a Norwegian invention, wearing one was a quiet nod to their national ingenuity and spirit. But the symbolism went deeper. The paper clip's very function is to bind things together, to create unity from separate parts. So, when students at Oslo University began wearing paper clips on their lapels in the autumn of 1940, it sent a clear, unspoken message to their fellow citizens. We are bound together. We are united against the occupation. The trend spread like wildfire. Soon, people all across Norway were wearing them. On their coats, their hats, their collars. It was a silent, secret club, a visual whisper of solidarity that passed between strangers on the street. A glint of metal on a lapel was a sign that you were not alone, that the spirit of a free Norway was still alive. It was a beautiful, simple act of defiance that the occupiers at first didn't even notice. They saw a paper clip and thought nothing of it. How could they? It was just a piece of office stationery. But they did notice. The resistance was too widespread to ignore. The Nazis and their collaborators realized that this wasn't a fashion statement, it was a political one. They understood the coded message: we are bound together. The paperclip had become a symbol of the resistance, a tiny metal banner of patriotism. And so, the ridiculous became reality. Wearing a paperclip was soon declared illegal. People were fined for displaying one. They were detained and interrogated, and still, they wore them. Some would hide them under their collars, a private reminder of their loyalty. Others made bracelets out of them, a chain of unity. The more the authorities tried to suppress it, the more powerful the symbol became. The paperclip held more than just paper during those dark years. It held a nation's hope. It held people together when they were being systematically torn apart. It proved that resistance doesn't always have to be loud and explosive. It doesn't always require grand gestures or heroic battles. Sometimes the most powerful resistance is quiet, persistent, and fits in your pocket. It's a shared secret, a collective breath held in defiance. When the war finally ended and Norway was liberated in 1945, the story of the paperclip became part of the national legend. It was a testament to the people's resilience and creativity in the face of tyranny. In 1989, a giant 23-foot-tall paperclip sculpture was erected near Oslo in honor of Johan Valler, but it also stands as a monument to the spirit of the Norwegian people during the war. It commemorates not just the supposed inventor, but the thousands of ordinary citizens who used his simple creation to wage a silent war. Today, the paperclip has mostly returned to its old, quiet role. It sits in our desk drawers, ignored and unappreciated, holding our bills and our reports. We spill them, we lose them, we bend them into strange shapes while we're on the phone. We don't think twice about them. Its heroic past has been largely forgotten by the rest of the world. But that's the fascinating thing about history. It lives in the objects all around us, in the things we touch every day. The most important objects, the ones that truly leave a mark, were often not designed to change the world. They were designed for a simple, practical purpose. But then, circumstances twist their fate, and they become something more. A piece of office equipment becomes a badge of courage. A simple tool becomes a symbol of unity. Every object has a story. Most of them have been lost to time, their origins and journeys forgotten. This was one of them. A story of how a small piece of bent wire helped hold a nation together through its darkest hour. So the next time you pick up a paper clip, maybe take a second look. It's not just a thing, it's a piece of history. A reminder that even the smallest, most insignificant things can carry the weight of a nation's soul. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more hidden histories behind everyday objects. See you next time.